Yo, this is the Christopher Complex coming at you. Today we're going to talk about something like, all right, so check it out. We just finished talking about don't worry, work. Now, how do you work? So, observing nature. I'm going to tell you this. I've told you before. Really pay attention to nature. It's spring out there right now. It's the summer. Really just look at nature. Just be still. Shut up and just be still and watch what nature has done and does all the time. And we take advantage of it and we see it all the time, but we just never realize what is really going on because we're on the phone, we're texting, we're doing something stupid, we're not paying attention, and the universe is giving us the answer. So if the question is, I'm doing everything, why is nothing working? I've done everything I could do. What do I do? What do I need to do now? You're going to hate the answer, but I'm going to explain it to you. Work. Now, you haven't, and I haven't been working like a tree. And you're saying, a tree? Man, a tree is sitting there or standing there or whatever it's doing, showing us every year, 4 times throughout the year, how to work, how to produce, how to make something happen. Now, if it's spring or summer or wherever you are, if you just think about the seasons of the year, you may have 2 seasons or 4 or whatever. Look at how a tree produces. Look at agriculture. Look at the agriculture of farming, of planting, of starting from a seed and growing and blossoming into something. Fall and winter are the 2 best seasons for preparing. So it's spring, it's summer, and you're enjoying the trees, you're enjoying it. It's giving you happiness, it's giving you clean air, it's giving you everything that you want it to give you. You're taking it for granted. You're not even realizing what that tree is also trying to tell you. I think that's probably the reason why they have trees in mythological stories, because trees do speak. They say a lot. I know you think I'm tripping, but you the one tripping because you ain't paying attention. So anyway, here's how it goes. In the fall and the winter, especially the fall, the leaves they fall. If you saw a tree drop 1 leaf in the fall, you would not say that it's fall time or it's autumn or whatever. But they do fall, and that signals you to do what? Get prepared for winter. What the tree is really doing is saying, I'm getting prepared for my spring, for next year, because I know that it's going to take me a lot of focus and a lot of time, energy, and a lot of stillness. Putting my head down. Well, trees don't put their head down, but putting my head down in a way, or just being still, concentrating inside myself to get all my cells and energy together to blossom in the spring. Your question is, I'm doing everything. Why is nothing working? You ain't working. That's it. Simple as that. Told you, don't worry, but work. But you ain't working enough. I'm not working enough. Look at a tree. They work. So in the fall and in the winter, we take that for granted. We'll say, oh, the tree's dead right now. Tree's not dead. We know that. Tree's probably hibernating. But we'll say the tree is just kind of like still. He's not doing anything. Yeah, au contraire. The tree is working. The tree is working. Do you think a tree is just not doing anything for the whole fall and winter so that all of a sudden magically this thing is going to just blossom 30,000 leaves or whatever it produces? No. In that fall and in that winter, it is sucking in nutrients. It's bringing its energy to a lower state so that it can focus. Focus on one thing, blossoming, so that photosynthesis can happen, so that clean air can happen, so that more air can happen, so that you could get shade from the sun, so that it can feed itself from the sun and give you energy, transform that energy into an apple or pear, avocado, or whatever it produces. You and I take that for granted. We'll go to the store and we're like, oh man, this apple don't taste like all that or nothing. These apples are beneath me. These apples are not that great. Have you ever thought what it took to produce that apple? If you ever thought of that, or have you ever thought that you don't work like a tree does, because a tree can produce thousands of apples on one tree, Think about it. Go apple picking. You'll see that. What we'll do as human beings, we'll say, okay, why is nothing working? But then we won't realize that we've only done one thing. One thing. One leaf. We produce one leaf. Now, if you went to a tree in the springtime and you said, hey, what did you produce? And that tree said, I blossomed one leaf. You would tell that tree you're dead. You're not supposed to produce one leaf. You're supposed to produce thousands of leaves. That's what a tree would do. Wait a minute. Hold up. That's unfair. You're asking the universe to give you everything that you wanted, your heart's desire, from a freaking Rolls Royce to the biggest house on top of a hill. But you only do one damn leaf, or produce one leaf, one thing. You only concentrate on one thing. You're sitting on the sofa watching the game, flicking on the phone, talking to your girl, whatever it is that you're doing. You're not still. You're not focused. You're not ready to go. You're not concentrated. You're not taking your season of fall or winter. So let's look at that. If things are hard right now and you're trying to figure out what the heck can I do, because it's hard right now. So that's your fall and your winter. To get this to turn around, the question is, look at a tree and look at how they are still. So if it's hard on a tree, meaning if you got these days where it's blowing a blizzard on you, it's ice all over your branches and all over your twigs, what was the tree doing? Tree is remaining still, keeping its energy low but concentrated on the inside to stay warm and getting that fire going internally to produce everything that it needs to produce to explode in production for the spring. And the responsibility that it knows it has is to explode in production for the spring so you can have clean air, protect you from the hot sun, create shade, give you air so that the wind has something to push and blow so you can stay cool. Give you something pretty to look at. Give you something to smile at, because when you see nice blossom trees, that stuff makes you smile. That's a responsibility. But then when it comes to us, I'm going to do this one thing, but I'm going to expect $1 million, $1 billion results. Don't happen that way. Tree doesn't do it that way. Tree, plant, bush, whatever. Look at nature. Let's even take it out of a tree. If you went outside and you saw one ray of sunlight, you would say that the sun is dying. If you were told by a weather person that it's windy outside and the wind blew like this, you would say that's not windy. That's just a blow of wind or a blow. That's it. So how come all of these things are produced in abundance? But when it comes to us, we produce in onesies and twosies and expect to be kings and queens. We expect to be running up at Neiman Marcus and buying the whole damn store. And then you have to realize you got to go to Walmart. I love Walmart personally, but I'm just using that as a balance. You got to understand, we got to produce. We got to produce. We cannot dabble. Tony Robbins just said we're dabbling. Gary Vaynerchuk, this cat says we don't have our head down. We're sitting there just complaining. Going to church. Oh, God, please help me out. God's telling you, in the beginning of this book. So, again, as I always said, I'm not trying to get into different religions. One I know, or the belief I know, in the beginning of the book it said, let's create something. And as we create it, we're going to command it to be fruitful and multiply. As we were commanded to be creators and to be fruitful and multiply, but the only thing we multiplying is time on the couch, time on the texting, time on the phone, time eating some more, bullshitting and whatever else we doing, and complaining. That is what we're doing. So if you've ever asked yourself this question, if you've ever said to yourself, man, I've done everything that I could possibly do to get something going, why ain't nothing happening? Because did you ever think you ain't doing enough? Maybe you need to look at nature. Imagine going to the beach and to get cooled off and one freaking wave came at you and that was it. You would say something's wrong with the ocean. Imagine if you needed your lawn watered, and you were like, man, I wish it would rain, and one drop of rain came, you bug out. So why don't you bug out on yourself and say to yourself, the reason why stuff ain't clicking and clacking, reason why things ain't happening, is because maybe I'm not making it rain. Not throwing money up in the club, making it rain in abundance of work. And we got to stop looking at that word work like it's a bad thing. Maybe you want to call it production. Maybe you want to call it progress. But there's nothing wrong with hard work. Maybe you don't like that word hard. Change it to abundant work. You need to create abundant work. You need to be preparing. When it's hard, don't worry. Work. When it's cold outside in your world, when it's cold in your world, when the nights are longer in your world, when there's ice and frost on your limbs, when the wind is blowing against you, if all you could do is be still within yourself, prepare and work and plan and create an abundance of action that you can execute so that your spring will explode with production, and in that production you will get the results that you want like a tree. Think about it. That's the reason why it ain't happening. So if you're a musician and it ain't happening, I'm a musician, it's not happening, maybe I need to create an abundance of songs. Maybe perform an abundance amount of times. If you're a writer and you've only written 3 pages in one season, maybe you need to write some more. Graphic designer, maybe you need to create a whole bunch of graphics, logos, all kinds of stuff, packages, have stuff ready to go. You ever go on the internet and you look up a business and you see that the business got 1 and 2 things, and you'll sit there and say, oh, these dudes ain't ready. You ain't ready if you got 1 and 2 things going. You cater it, and you got nothing but 1 or 2 things on the menu. You got freaking rib tips and tater salad or something stupid like that. And somebody says, can I see a menu? You can't even produce a menu or an invoice. You're not doing enough work. You got to work. You got to get something done. You got to make it happen. You got to make this move. You a runner, but you ain't run but once a month or once every other season. You got to run every single day. You trying to get in shape. You got to exercise every single day. Yes, your body does need rest. That's part of the everyday. Don't over rest. Don't exercise on a Monday and come back 2 Mondays from now. You got to work. How did they get that? They worked for it, or they produced in abundance. How about that? If you don't like hard work, they produced in abundance. They did a lot. How about that? Say it a different way. Change your language. Maybe you don't like the language of hard work. Change it in a way that you can see it. Maybe just say, I work like a tree, or I produce like a tree, or I make leaves like a tree, or I make it rain like rain. And then you'll see the results. Because if you execute in multitude, taking the 80-20 rule, you can send out 100% of execution, and all the results that produce what you need to live and thrive off of could only be 20% of the results. And if you understand the 80-20 rule, there's even 80/20 in the 20% that was positive for you. But you still needed to produce a multitude of results. So if you only fire 1 time or 2 times, your 80% is so, your 80-20% is so lacking, you don't have enough production to even figure out what is the 80-20. Because you only did 1 or 2 things. Doesn't make any sense. Again, if you went outside and you saw a tree and the tree produced 1 leaf, you would say that leaf is dead. So if you produce 1 thing, if you saw 1 ray of sunlight, you would say the sun is dead. If you seen 1 wave on the beach when you went to go to the beach, you would say the ocean is dead. So what are you saying to yourself about producing 1 thing? I'm tired. I ain't got time for that. Remember, I told you all about that. I ain't got time for that. You got all the time in the world to produce the life that you want to design. That is simple, plain and simple. If you can't get up off the couch, go get a book called The 5-Second Code or 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. Maybe that can help you out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get up off the couch and get something done. So anyway, this is the Christopher Complex. I wanted to come at you real quick. I know I spoke about don't worry, work. But now, this is how you work. You work in abundance. There's a book by Grant Cardone called 10X Rule. You got to produce 10 times. 10 times the amount. Execute, fire. Come out with an armada called you and just fire away. Don't worry about which one is going to hit. You're going to hit the target. You might have to shoot about 100 missiles. And 20 of them actually hit that target. Maybe 10 of them. But it's better than shooting one missile and hoping, oh my God, this thing is hit. Did I hit it with one missile? There's some people in this world. Yes, I understand. We only have one shot. That might be true. But maybe you only have one shot because you only built one bullet, one missile, one arrow. Maybe you need to sit down and reproduce more than one shot. Maybe it's just a philosophy that you think you only have one shot. Opportunity is in abundance. When they say that stupidness about opportunity only comes once in a lifetime, that is a myth and it is dumb as hell because the universe doesn't see it that way. The universe doesn't see scarcity. The universe sees overabundant amount of opportunities that will lead you to the same place. You just want the opportunity to look a certain way. The universe says, okay, you want to be a big time star? Well, you can meet this star and then maybe the star will put you on, or maybe you could just start singing yourself and put yourself on. Same directions, going to the same place. But maybe you're just saying, I only want to do it one way, when you could be doing it in a multitude of ways. So you can create the fruit that you need to be a star, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever it is. So, again, get to work. Get to work like a tree. In your hard times, when it's hard, you can't pay the bills, can't pay the rent, can't do this, can't do that, can't deal with your spouse, can't deal with your lover, whatever it is, and there's ice, wind, and blizzard on your life, and it's hard, and those nights are long, what you need to do is be still within yourself and create enough energy that you can keep warm in those hard, cold times. And keep your light on inside you and plan, execute, create a lot of action. And when you're ready and when springtime comes, you explode. You explode with so much fruit, so many leaves that you have an abundance of opportunity or abundance of action happening for you, an abundance of things clicking and clacking and getting into place for you that you don't have to worry about. Why did that one not make it? You had 500 that you shot. I'm going to hit the target. I might not hit it on a bullseye, but 20 of them things is going to definitely hit that target, as opposed to having one or two and hoping from a distance that one is going to make it and hit. Stop playing lotto with your life. Design your life. Get to work or produce in abundance. This is Christopher Complex coming at you. Don't worry, work. And work like a tree. Produce like a tree. Check that out. Look at the tree differently now, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Always, always, always produce in abundance. You can hit me up at the Chris Complex on Twitter. Talk to you soon.